project Git. Let's delve into project Git. It is assumed that before you start attempting the question or the quiz, you must have read and watched these resources here, about 3. And after that, the resources for the advanced tasks are about 2. I strongly encourage you go through all of them. You don't have to cram everything, but try to understand the basic concepts. After you've gone through the resources, please read the requirements and then try to understand what these various commands do. After that, you are ready to start your first task. Project 0. Create and set up your GitHub account. So I've been getting questions if you need to set up Git, you need to install Git in your computer. Well, maybe later on you will need that, but for this project you do not need to install Git in your computer. All you have to do is create and set up your GitHub account. If you want to create your GitHub account, please click here. I'm adjusting my screen so we can see it clearly. Click here. This place carries us to the GitHub environment where we can simply set up our GitHub accounts. So if you open your GitHub account, what you should meet is this screen. This is what you should meet when you open your GitHub account. The first thing you are going to do, if this is your first time to GitHub, please click sign up. And all you have to do is just follow the steps. These are the basics for your Git, setting up your GitHub account. Remember, it is part of the test. Step 0, create an account. If you have one account already, it should automatically sign you in. So first, put your email address. Please let this email be an active one, because GitHub would send codes and other confirmations there. So I'm going to use my email account now. Once you do your email account, click on continue. It will ask you to create a password or would suggest one for you. You could create a password or use the one suggested. I'm going to hit on continue, and it's going to ask you for a username. So please take note, your username should not have spaces in it. Your username should not have spaces in it. Your username should also be unique, because you cannot have the same username as someone else. So my username, I'm going to use brightdaniel2. You could use underscore, but you should not put spaces in your username. So let's say brightdaniel3 and click on continue. You could just type or ignore this message and click on continue. Now the next thing is verify your accounts. Please follow the steps. Select everything they ask you to select and you should be done. So I'm done and I've clicked on create accounts. Okay, so this is where the important part comes in. The email you've sent, they sent a code there, the email you use. So all you have to do is go to your email and enter the code. Fill the rest of the questions after entering your code and continue. Come down here and click on continue for free. This should be what you would see once you are successfully done. This is your GitHub dashboard. And so we've completed our first step in task 0, which is create an account on GitHub. Step 2 is create a personal access token on GitHub. How do we do this? Here we go. So come here, this little icon by your right, come here and go down, go to settings. Once you go to settings, scroll down, and by your left, the last thing you should see is developer settings. Click on it, and by your left, the last thing you should see is personal access tokens. Click on it too, and then click generate new token. You could name it anything. I'll name it test purpose. I'll leave the expiration the same. Please click here, repo. You could add any other thing you want to do, but for me only repo is necessary, and click on generate token. That's all you need. But before you leave this place, please make sure to copy your personal access token, because you won't be able to see it again. Click here to copy it, and you could simply open another new file, maybe your notepad, and paste it there. Please copy your token here and paste it somewhere else in a safe place where you can refer to it, because if you leave this environment, you won't be able to see your token. This is it. Step 1, create a personal access token has been done. After that, you should set up your profile on the intranet. When you submitted your form, ALX asks you to put your GitHub username. In case you didn't do that, please click here, and you would be taken to your, just scroll down and you should see your GitHub username. Bright Daniel, this is my GitHub username. Note, your GitHub username can be seen here. This is it. Any name that appears when you open your GitHub dashboard down here is your GitHub username. So copy your GitHub username and paste it. After that, click on save my information. Just like that, you should be done with step 2. Next up, create your first repository. Using the graphic interface on the GitHub website, create your first repo. How do we create our first repo? Go back to your GitHub and come here. You should see start a new repository. You should also see create repository. Please click on it, and this is what would appear. When this appears, look at the name of the repository here. Copy this, Ctrl+C, paste it in the repository name. Go back, copy the description. I am now a ALX student. Copy all of that and paste it here. That's all. Do not touch any of these things. Click on create repository. Congratulations, we've done with our first 4 steps here. To complete your tag 0, you now have to open the sandbox and clone your repository. How do we do that? So please, this place is a little tricky. I would advise you to pay careful attention. So let's go. Open the sandbox first off. click on your web terminal. Your sandbox is opened. Now go back to the instruction. It says open the sandbox, and on the web terminal of the sandbox do the following: clone your repository. How do you clone your repository? This is the command: git clone https your personal token as github.com, your username / alexprecourse.git. But you cannot copy this, so what I encourage you to do is drag down this tab, minimize it, and so keep your web terminal and your intranet side by side, and then just copy along. This is the code: git clone https. Be careful not to make mistakes, so just type it: git clone https. Your personal token. So that our personal access token we got from GitHub, that we've copied into a safe place, because note, if you fail to copy it, you won't see it again. We'll now copy our personal access token. Unfortunately, in the sandbox terminal, you cannot paste anything here, so you have to open this side by side and carefully type in everything there. It's going to take some time, but please just do it. So I'm going to write down everything here, my personal token here. After writing your personal access token carefully, take note of all the capital letters and the smaller letters and write them just accordingly. You're going to continue at github.com and then your username. So just type at github.com / your username. So what is your username? My username is here. In case you might have forgotten, this is my username, Bright Daniel 3. So that's what I'll write over there, exactly the way it is. Keep the capital letters the way they are, keep the smaller letters the way they are. So Bright Daniel 3. After typing your username, next step is to write in /ALX precourse.git. So write it: ALX precourse.git and press enter. So once you have written your personal access token at github.com / your username / ALX precourse.git and you press enter, it should show you this message: cloning into an empty directory. You have appeared to clone into an empty directory. This is the message that should appear. If this message appears in your web terminal, then you are correct. After that, your next stage would be to navigate to a new directory. How do we navigate? So that's simple. You just cd ALX precourse and once you seed into ALX precourse, it's going to appear. When you seed into ALX, nothing is going to appear. It's just going to show you this. If you see this message, know that you're actually doing the correct thing. After that, we go to our next task. Your next task is to create a file, readme.md, with the contents, my first readme. So it means you are going to create a file called readme.md, and inside the file you're going to write my first readme. How do you do that? Don't be scared. They put it here. They put the know-how here. Echo my first readme and then readme.md. So all you have to do is type this into the folder. Remember, the folder is ALX precourse. So all you just have to type is echo and your single quotes, my first readme, and the name of the file is going to be readme.md in smaller letters, readme in capital letters. Please make sure you take note of all these details. After that, press enter on your keyboard. Nothing is going to appear when you press enter. It's going to be blank. So how do you know if you've done the right thing? Simply type cat and then the name of the file, readme.md, and press enter. You should see this word, my first readme, there when you press cat readme.md. If you see this, then congratulations, you've done it correctly. After that, go to your next task. Your next task is to update your Git identity. How do you update your Git identity? Here is the step. So you're going to type everything in here into the folder ALX precourse. So let's go to our terminal, and what is the command we'll type? Git config -- global user.email. Okay, so type it. Now after typing git config global user.email, if you check here, you're going to see a u@example.com. It's simply asking for your email, the email you use to open Git. The email Git sends a verification code to. Please put that email here. So I'm going to put my own inside this quotation mark. As you can see, my email is dannyboyd@gmail.com. Then press enter immediately. Nothing is going to happen when you press enter, and if nothing happens, you've done it the correct way. Next up, you are expected to type git config global user.name and put your username. Note your username. Here was your email and here is your username. So as you can see, I've typed my username, git config global user.name, and then my username. After that, add this new file to Git, commit the change with the message my first commit, and push to the remote server. So this may look a little bit complex, but it's not. Once you press enter here, nothing will happen. So you should have a blank screen like this after you press enter, and the next thing to do is just hit git add dots. Press enter after pressing git add dots. Nothing is going to happen, and the next thing you're going to write is git commit -m, my first commit. After pressing git commit, After pressing enter, some things would happen. You are going to see a message called master root commits, my first commit. You are going to see all of these. These messages are going to show on your web terminal. If these messages appear, you've done the right thing. So after pressing git commit, my first commit, and getting those messages, the next thing you want to do is to type git push and press enter. When you press enter, these messages would appear. These messages will appear. It's going to successfully push your code to GitHub. If these messages do not appear, then you have made a mistake. Most likely, when you were typing out your personal token, your username, or when you were typing your user email and your username. So please take care to type in, input the correct details so that you do not have any errors with your first step. After you must have done git push and received these messages showing 100% done. You can see it clearly, 100% done. After you've seen that, then just come here and click on check your code, start a new test, and it's going to tell you congratulations, all tests passed successfully. Everywhere here is going to be green, and just like that, you're done with your first projects. Everything about your first set of projects is done. You can see it, tag 0. Tag 0 goes all the way down. All the way down. So just try to do it following this step I've shown you, and you should be done with your first tags, tag 0. It's going to mark green, signifying that you are done. I hope this guide was helpful. If you have questions, feel free to drop them below in the comments, or you could send me a personal message and ask your questions. But if you follow all the steps I've listed, it should work. Your code should tell you congratulations. In the next video, I'm going to explain the repo section and the code Fury Road. Good luck, guys. Thank you so much. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. You could also tag your peers, your colleagues, and your friends who may be facing similar issues as you, so that they can get their GitHub accounts running and successfully push their first code to GitHub.
This movie is super long and the part 2 is coming up, so just watch the next part 2 to see the problem being solved. I have solved the